So this is my presentation, I guess, for the first part of the marketing plan. So it's me and my boy Pete, we're doing this. So yeah, start off with a little biography. So Salty is an experimental bass artist out of Atlanta, Georgia. Been a project for a couple years since 2013. Um, Super diverse, super like forthcoming in the bass music scene. Uh, has a lot of music that comes from a lot of like rap samples and stuff like that. So he has a heavy hip hop influence, which I think is pretty important whenever you're looking at who's an artist. I'm sorry, I'm moving around so much. I'm gonna sit still, just trying to find a good light. But so yeah, definitely like a up and comer in the scene. So what we're gonna kind of try to do throughout our presentation is we're gonna try to move him from more of a regional act into a more national act. Um, in the specific scene that the music scene that we're focusing in the experimental bass and EDM and everything. Uh, the way that the marketing for it's like very, or the way that it's marketed and sold is kind of different. It's a lot less of like the top 40 stuff and a lot less of those charts, and there's a lot more independent charts that are ran as opposed to um like Billboard and stuff like that. It's not That's not a very apparent thing in this specific scene. But yeah, so that kind of leads into who he is as an artist. So he is an independent artist. He doesn't have any like signed record label. Um, he has had releases on some of the major record labels of the EDM scene, like Wakan, um, and Deep Dark Dangerous. Those are probably two of the most notable, I'd say. And those were just single releases on compilation albums with other artists. Uh, so his name is out there. He is growing in the scene, and that's pretty pivotal for that. So that brings us into our target market. So for the target market, I did kind of base it off of the general EDM scene because I didn't have any. It's kind of hard, less than. It's kind of hard to find the specific demographic for this scene because of the underground aspect of it and how it's really not glamorized or shown all over um, trends and everything. So yeah. So here we have the little graph about it. So the blue's gonna be males, green's gonna be females. Clearly, we're kind of shooting for that age demographic of 18 to 34, 35. Um, Most of the people that do come are gonna be 18 to 24. Specifically in this scene, as I've noticed, I think we're leading more towards a different group of probably about 23 to 28. That's the main demographic of that. Um, in the electronic dance scene, it is predominantly ran by men, white males, who have had some college, not like necessarily graduate or anything like that, but just had some level of higher education. So yeah, uh, specifically where they're at, we're gonna say it's mostly in like the Northeast, the Midwest, Southeast, and then the Pacific Northwest. Those are going to be the main target markets that people look for. Um, Specifically, I would say the two biggest would be Denver, Colorado, and Portland, Oregon. Those are probably two of the biggest for this underground scene. Um, a third would be Seattle, Washington. We'll kind of get into that more. But the whole scene itself's more about the production culture rather than the actual flashiness of having all the lights, all the like craziest bars, craziest venues and stuff like that. And it's more so you could just have a dark room with some loudspeakers, and those fans are very acquainted to that. Um, So in that, we find that the people that tend to go to these events are pretty open-minded. They're into unique experiences. They're assertive in their beliefs, and like they just are commonly living and enjoying. I guess you could say would be the best way to say it. Um, and in that market, it allows for people to be uh, diverse, even though it is predominantly white males. It the amount of minorities that have begun to come into the scene has increased rapidly, and I think that as time's going on, it's becoming more and more of a culture norm and less of a white male thing and more of just a person thing. Um, so yeah, that's it for my first part. Pete's gonna holler at y'all now. I'll be back in a little bit to tell y'all about the budget at the end. So yeah.